Namaste everyone. So today I'm going to discuss about Niyama 5, which is Ishvara Pranidhana. You can see here, Ishvara Pranidhana. It means surrender. This power of surrendering or being surrender, it is not about giving up. It is about letting go. So how do we apply this in a more yogic practice? And also there is a religious way also and also a spiritual way. So let's just take a look. Ishvara Pranidhana also meaning humility, modest or being humble. And also having faith if you're a religious person or you believe in a God, like anybody, any form that you believe in, any shape you believe in. So you take a shelter and you practice that, being devoted and surrender yourself into the practice of yoga. And you're very dedicated to that. So Niyama 5, in a more yogic way, it is about letting go of the ego. We all of us have a certain, sometimes we do have an ego. That can kill us. Even in the practice of yoga, even in our real life, even in a spiritual way, anything that you want to attain that higher self and to understand the moral code. So Ishvara Pranidhana is actually gives you an insight about letting go of your ego in yoga. In religious way, it's about the God you dedicate, you devoted, and you're really constantly offering and praying. So you take a shelter, and also in a more very simplistic way, you can see here a state of collective consciousness, something that higher than ourself. So just to more to do internal practice. It goes with the belief and also belief, and also with the practice of yoga. And it can prepare you to do a longer, deep state meditative, mind you begin to be. Because whatever this turbulence happening in the mind, especially the self, when we know the self, something like if you go back to the Niyama 4, Swadhyaya, it talks about knowing the self. Sometimes we think that we know, but actually the knowledge and everything that we're actually getting from the universe. So you actually bow and you surrender to the higher self or this universe that, the creation has happened. So it is to see things as they are, not you see things as you are. So there is I needs to take it out here. So it's like I. So but there is something out there. So that comes to believing it. Okay? So let's take a look at the sutra. It is from chapter 2, 45th verse. So it goes up. Samadhi siddhir shvara pranidhanat. I repeat again. Samadhi siddhir ishvara pranidhanat. It means devotion to the supreme. Supreme. You see the word, how the translation in the Yoga Sutra by Patanjali. Supreme, somebody higher than ourselves, somebody out there, somebody that you believe can be God or in any form. Okay? So devotion to the Supreme Being leads to attainment of the deepest meditative state, which is actually samadhi. If you see, if you follow the previous talk, Niyama 3, tapas and swadhyaya. Tapas means austerity, self-discipline, practice, heat. And swadhyaya, knowing the self, self-study, studying scriptures, chanting mantras. And after you practice all this now, you surrender something higher than yourself. Devotion to the Supreme. So it's more to the God, you can say, if you have belief enough. So the people who follow the religious thing, they kind of, it goes to that. Like you can understand much more easily. In a spiritual way, universe, the energy. There is no eyes, just you take a shelter and you just remain calm. You surrender to the situation. It's like what was happened, you let go of it and have faith in what it comes in the future. And you surrender to the moment, every moment. You're just, okay. So you're being very grounded, and also applies to the humility and to have faith towards something that you believe in, something that you really to understand the higher self. Okay? So that's the sutra meaning now. And if you have seen here, I kind of wrote some of this stuff. You can see a person holding the palms like this and bowing. In any religion, you often see they do this gesture now, especially in India, where I'm born. Namaste meaning is, the divine in me respects the divine in you. And maybe bow. It's not just say hi or how are you or something. It's kind of a greeting, but it has this spiritual meaning inside. So if you can see here, the practice of being grounded, like sitting quietly. I've done my ritual of taking a vow of silence. I just did Mauna Vratam. It means you don't talk in general. You kind of control the senses. And also I did my 30 hours of fasting along with it. It was pretty hard for me. It's not easy because I need to work. And I kind of like speaking out for 5 to 6 times, just like automatically it happened because the surroundings. It is not easy to practice this kind of thing in city life. You really have to be quiet and somewhere like, very far. Especially it's good to be in if you're in a forest or mountains. Somewhere is very deep silence you have. Then you can practice this. Actually, it really helps a lot. When you stay quiet, I think your mind, you can understand better. So from my experience, it is so hard to control because I have to work and I have to do this and that, but it's not easy for me. But I did it somehow, and it kind of let me stay calm and understand the value of the speech and the words, not just talking all the time. So you're consuming the energy also, but talk when it's useful, when it's necessary. Not talking gossip, not talking some bold, it's like whatever unnecessary things. So try to do this. Called Mauna Vratam. You can look up to it. And so it's like staying quiet. And you don't talk for 24 hours. And along with the fasting. So 2 senses. The tongue, you don't eat the stomach, So it comes to the extreme practice, but you can try. Mauna Vratam. And sitting quietly, practicing meditation, something like that. So the next one is practicing spirituality. Spirituality is has a deeper meaning behind. How can let me share with you guys about this. It is about deliberately letting go of your attachment and outcome. And also, when we surrender, we give up, but not in the way we think giving up means. We don't give up to the situation, but rather we give up the notion that we should be able to or even can manage the situation, that we know anything that can help. So basically, for me, the spiritual meaning is you being spiritual means you understand. You understand yourself. You understand the universe. You understand how the mind works, how the body works. Of course, there's a lot of other practices for sure. But in order to understand, you need to understand yourself first. So spirituality have given me that kind of the information and the knowledge that I read and I practiced. And also I follow few videos from online talks that do. It's quite helpful now. So practicing spirituality is quite helpful. And letting go of ego. ego is a big part. So the best part is to letting go of the ego. You can practice meditation. So I suggest you one of the book. It's called How to Meditate from Prem Chodhan. Maybe I step forward a little bit to show you guys. Yes. Yeah. So this is from Pema Chodhan. It can be very helpful. And also, in a more religious way, surrender and devotion, if you talk about in a more religious way, how we see this Ishvara Pranidhana. In Gita, in Bhagavad Gita, I can show it up here. This is a Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So you can, most of the yoga practitioners, they read this too. It's more, if you're a devotee, especially the Krishna. I do pray also before now. Every weekend, sometimes I pray and I fast. There was a time I kind of give up now, but I begin to start again slowly. I don't know why. It just happened to me. Probably, I throw myself outside. I became very busy with my dream. And now I kind of understand the value that it just helped me to take a little pause and just to stay self-restrained. And also Niyama 5 kind of goes internal practice. So you can see how we can apply this Ishvara Pranidhana to ourselves, just to surrender now. Let me share a quote with you from Gita. Tam eva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapasya shashvatam. It means surrender exclusively unto Him with your whole being. For example, to the Krishna, you surrender yourself. O Bharat, by His grace, you will attain a perfect peace and the eternal abode. So ultimately, when you surrender to the God in a more religious way, He or she will take care. But it doesn't mean that you cannot do your karma. You have to do your practice and karma. So it has much more deeper meaning than that, but it's just in a more religious way, just to be more devoted and practice constantly. People who religiously practice, it's called bhakti yoga, like devotion, bhakti and yoga. So yeah, the devotion of yoga now. And also, practicing spirituality, if you come back to some of the practice, I can give you guys more like a yoga dance, and also meditation is the biggest things now. Is to control your senses and also remain calm. So it's one of the thing that called one of the dance called Lalita Marmika. You can look up in Google Lalita Marmika. So you open your hands like this, and you step and you do some horizontal moves. The mantra goes along with the kirtana, chanting or singing a song towards that you believe in something, the higher self. Bhavanam Kevalam, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, or Om, chanting Om, or in another way, Namyo Rangyagom, Namyo Rangyagom. There's beautiful mantras, or Om Mani Vameno Vam Mani. There are many mantras in there. So you take a shelter, and you have a certain people or group you practice. So it's kind of like, it is to welcome the joy. It is to just to, ask for the peace and live in harmony. And also the dance can be very helpful physically to prepare for the meditation. So Lalita Marmika. Okay, that's one of it. And also Kaushiki dance. You'll be holding the palms like this, and you're leaning on the side, Bhavanam Kevalam, and leaning forward and back. Forward bend can help you in yoga. It is to calm the mind and also grounding. And you release your crown towards the earth. So there's a grounding energy. It makes your mind very calm and serene, tranquil mind. The back bends can clear our samskaras or trauma, anything like you hold on, and it gives you more strengthening, strong, powerful opening in your heart. So when the heart is begin to open, I think you welcome the moment of the space and time, whatever the energy comes in, so you take it. And as you finish, you bow forward, and you bow forward, you finish, and you bow, and you ground it. So that's one of the Kaushiki dance. And Maunavratam, staying quiet. And also, I did a ritual called, what do you call it? The Trataka. It's from the tantric practice. It's also one of the ritual after the fast you do. You lighten up a candle about your eye level height and you stay. And you gauge without moving the eye. It's good for the eyes and also gives you better quality of sleep and improves the concentration. And it gives more, how do you say that? It promotes more various psychic abilities and also bring energy to the third eye. My experience, when I while I gauge and I kind of close my eyes, I can visualize the fire, a small fire, the candle lit, can visualize. Kind of, I did this now. I try to visualize because it is like programming your mind. So these practices can be very helpful just to go inwards and to connect to the higher self. And also, like it's kind of like surrender to the energy that you want to bring it up. So let me share with you one more thing. Ishvara Pranidhana is not about what your yoga can do for you. Like your yoga, whatever the practice you do style, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, raja yoga, vinyasa yoga, astanga yoga, hatha yoga, anything you practice, or restorative yoga, yin yoga, chair yoga, many styles, aerial yoga, wheel yoga. See how many yoga. Whatever it's not about what your yoga can do for you, but about approaching your practice in the spirit of offering. Nowadays, too much taking from everything. So Ishvara Pranidhana, if you can, humility and faith, and also offering. When you do something, you don't expect anything in return, which means you're expecting something. There is an expectation from anything. When you offer something and you offer fully. See, people, when we leave these bodies and minds, so one day the soul remains. So why we need to hold so much and why we need to take so much, in order to, like Ishvara Pranidhana, also more like a karma yoga. It's like you offer. It doesn't mean that you give everything away. Of course, you have what is enough is for you. Just keep it for yourself. And you be happy with it. Not ask for more. So nowadays it's like too much taking but not giving. If you learn to give, but it's not giving up, it is offering. So the same thing when you surrender, like in the Ishvara Pranidhana, to the higher self, anything is the same thing. You're being grounded. And it creates more a genuine approach to the yoga and to prepare all these yama, niyamas, to prepare the mind to do the asana next. If you don't learn the steps of the yama, niyama properly, the next what is coming is asana, pranayama, pratyahara, all those like higher levels of practice. So you need to understand these external, internal behaviors so you can see how they give you a kind of a guide map to do your asana with the more deliberate, constant abhyasa practice. So Ishvara Pranidhana, it is very helpful, not just in a religious way or a spiritual way, even in a practical way. Remember, when you hold so much in your mind, when you hold so much in your body, you don't feel lighter. But when you begin to let go, like bit by bit, I know it is very hard, it sounds so easy, but you let go bit by bit, you begin to feel lighter. Why you need to hold? So the question is, what are you holding? What are you holding? You ask yourself, what are you holding onto or into or anything? Can you hold something and you move on? No. Can you grab something? Okay, I have all these things. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. See, it's mine. I want this, I want this. Can you hold all of them and go one day somewhere? No, it's heavy. So it's the same thing in yogic practice. So the bodies and minds needs to be purified, practicing these yama niyamas to understand, to surrender after knowing the knowledge, the self-knowledge, swadhyaya, and then Ishvara Pranidhana. You take shelter, you be grounded with the knowledge, but you still believe that you are, like grounded. You're not like, oh, I know everything now, I can do, I'm the best. So the comparison also, one of the problem in our society. We compare ourselves a lot. Even in the yoga practices, people, I can do posture this one better. You cannot do that. Oh, you're like big, you're small, you're fat, or this one that. No, yoga does not create comparison here. Yoga is to understand, and yoga is to create that space and time to let us, much more easiest way, just to let us helpful. Even in scientific way, there's a lot of benefits. So it's a union of the body, mind, and soul. Yoga, chitta vritti nirodha, is to, the declutter the mind, a fluctuation of the mind, just to like wipe it off. So it has the other meaning. It's more inside people, not just outside. So stop comparing yourself. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is better than anybody. But we can do good. We can offer. So if you understand, it's not about what yoga can do for you. It's about your spirit, what you can offer. So the question is, what are you holding? You think about it. What are you holding? There is a quote I would like to share. Surrender is not about giving up. I repeat again. Surrender is not about giving up. It is about letting go. Letting go of the ego. That's the more, as an artist, well, I mean, I can say like I perform like full on, with my constant practice. But my body is not the same, it's changing. So yoga, the philosophy of the yoga helped me to understand the self. And yoga helped me to understand the universe, the world around, the external world. And the yoga, yama niyamas, the philosophy, yoga, it helped me to create a decent life with the external world and also with myself inside. So as an artist, this is what I have, what yoga helped me. And also yoga created me a kind of clarity towards what I say, how I do, and even let me observe my actions, and also with the body and mind. So the question is, once again, what am I holding earlier and what am I holding now? Can I let go? And the same question for you. What are you holding? Can you stop the wind with your hand? Or can you grasp, or like say you're looking at the ocean, can you grasp the water in your hand? And can you, no, it's gonna. So just let the things as it is. Do not try to control. When you try to control, that's heavy. So that's what this quote, just to, surrender within the moment and just to let go. You can see the small bird down there. I wrote it as surrender to what is, like right now. Let go of what was before, earlier, your past, whatever it is. And have faith in what will be. So this is Ishvara Pranidhana. Practicing of letting go, especially the ego. And to take a shelter, like in a religious way, more devoted, like believing in the God. In a more yogic way, just to remain within the space and time. You welcome the moment as it passes, moves on. So I want to fold my hands close to my heart as a namaste gesture. And I would like to give you a better explanation of what is exactly namaste means. The divine in me respectfully recognize the divine in you. So namaste invokes the feeling of spiritual oneness of heart and mind. With the person one is greeting, when understood in a spiritual context, namaste can be a proper greeting for us all. So you can see there is a deeper meaning. The divine in me respectfully recognize the divine in you. And yoga in no way forces the idea of God or religion upon anyone. But as you might have noticed by listening to the things you're generally the people say, many of the yoga teachers says that, also people, there is an underlying idea that something bigger, more profound and pure exists other than ourselves. Remember, other than ourselves. I want to bow to you all and greet from my heart, Namaste. And maybe practice wholeheartedly and maybe surrender ourselves and be more grounded, I would say more, be humble and have faith. Do not hold, just let go. I know it's hard, but with the constant regular practice, if you stay away from that object or the feeling, that when you get distanced, it begin to get smaller and not much now. So that is Ishvara Pranidhana. Do not hold. Let go and let go of your ego. And have faith and create that state of collective consciousness and to create peace, love, and harmony. Thank you all, and namaste.